Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn a little bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one of getting all the insight. Now today's video, we are going into another news and media published by the government of Australia, especially in between the Department of Immigration and also the Northern Territory government. Now it looks like they are opening up more migration quota and relax more laws and rules in order for migrants to actually settle in Northern Territory. Have you thought about going to Darwin? Probably this video is for you. Now let's go into the actual detail of the news, and we'll go into the formal media release information, and let's go through them. Okay, now this you probably can find a lot, and not just from 7 News, but it's everywhere. It's actually everywhere. So as you notice, if the news is everywhere, means there is a direction of pushing by the government of Australia. So 7 News and the part, I'm not too sure why this is in politics, but anyway, okay, the title says skill migration rules relax for Northern Territory. Well, great. It's about time to do it, because during the 2 years of pandemic, Northern Territory basically had done nothing to actually make their policy and procedures easier in compared to Western Australia, Queensland, South Australia, you name it. Everybody's pushing for a better way to attract migrants, but Northern Territory basically done really nothing. You may notice in my channel this 2 years I have not updated anything about Northern Territory because they haven't done anything. All right, it's about time, so let's have a read. The Commonwealth has relaxed migration rule to help Northern Territory employers fill critical skilled workers. Well, good on them. I'm not too sure whether it's Northern Territory government pushing for it or it's the federal government, which is the Commonwealth. So they probably thought, let's help this little fella up in the north a little bit and give them a little bit push. So let's read on. Relaxed migration rules are set to help Northern Territory employers fill critical skilled workers shortage, and federal government says the designated area migration agreement. So that is DAMA. Not too sure how this will go. For example, in South Australia, the state government has stepped in to actually make DAMA program much easier and accessible. Whether Northern Territory will do the same, we don't know, but let's see. Update increased number of migrant workers who travel and work in the territory. It's about skill, it's about getting more people here. It's also about seeing people being able to permanently migrate here easier than before. So this is basically what the Immigration Minister Alex Hawke had actually said on Monday. Now, I think it's good, but I've been dealing with Northern Territory government before. The issue for them, I hate these ads, let's click them off. The issue with Northern Territory is the response rate is just so slow, unbelievably slow. Anyway, let's continue to read on. So it's a special agreement for Northern Territory to make sure it can meet the demand and compete internally. The minister said that every 600 people who come to work in Australia, 20 more jobs are created. Whoa, they would have known that earlier. Anyway, the amendment of the Northern Territory DAMA increased number of eligible occupation for migrant to 124 skilled and semi-skilled jobs. Now, it's I think more interestingly in those semi-skilled jobs, it's just like the one they have proposed in South Australia. So it might not require there's no skill assessing authority could assess those jobs. let's see how that goes. These have been identified as having critical shortage of worker. New DAMA also provide additional concession, standard visa eligibility. That's very good. So basically, the concession will be predominantly in 3 areas. One is the requirement to have the work experiences, and secondly is the age. They may relax the age requirement and also the English requirement. So that's basically the 3 areas where the concession will actually be waived. Okay, so non-term minister job training Paul Kirby said that include agriculture, aquaculture, which were desperate workers for sure, because in these 2 years there's just no working holiday, no backpackers in Australia. But he reminded employers they did have to look at the workers locally before bridging people from overseas. Well, I think employers predominantly will have already done that. If they haven't done that, why is this news here anyway, right? So Northern Territory First Region News DAMA responded to unique workforce shortage back in 2015. Was it a success? Well, some people said so, but from my view, I don't think so, because hardly heard anyone actually gone through DAMA program in this few years. Then 8 more DAMA have been created. Yeah, see, they created, but have you heard anyone get DAMA sponsor? Very, 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 very few. So about 275 businesses have applied since 2019 to fill only 925 positions. That is the problem. That's actually very low. That is actually very, very low. A further 200 places of skilled worker regional subclass have been allocated to Northern Territory 2021-22 on top of 500 places already allotted. Well, should be allocated. Well, anyway, so as you can see here, issue with the smaller states and territories is always the numbers of quota. Now, you may wish to go there, but look, we're only talking about the numbers of quota here. It's only hundreds, not even thousands. Okay, and that's and obviously that reflect to the economy of Darwin and also Northern Territory. So if you're interested, sure, can go on. Let's go into the actual media release from the government themselves. Okay, so this is from Honorable Alex Holt, that's the Minister of Immigration, and also Paul Kirby, the government representative of Northern Territory. So media release, Australians supporting Northern Territory feel critical shortage and utilizing DAMA. Basically for the support their economy recovery from pandemic. So the training and skilling Australia has also been a top priority, but there's a need of additional migrant workers. The government of Australia always love to balance training Australians and getting skilled migrants. Reason? Well, political, because all the politicians required to go to poll and elections. If they want to win the votes, they need to tell people in Australia that we are training Australians. Well, but the actual needs is actually here. They need more workers from overseas, because solely putting more training on Australian domestically won't solve the issue. That's basically the problem is. Anyway, so the update will increase more eligible occupations, as we have read from the news article. Permanent residency pathway remain available. So obviously, if you got into DAMA, obviously you can transfer into PR after 3 years of work, and that's for all sorts of DAMA. So a lot of people had. Well, this is pre-pandemic. I've done a lot of videos introducing what DAMA is, and at that time, I do think the government do have an initiative to actually improve DAMA program, but then obviously the virus hit the whole world, so it just stopped everywhere. So from what I can see, the changes came up in the state of South Australia. It's actually very welcome, because if the state government could actually step in to assist the DAMA procedures, because it's actually very complicated. You can imagine the employers are required to draft an agreed labor agreement between the employer and the federal government. Now, general employer wouldn't have access to those legal knowledge to do so. So who can actually become DAMA? Traditionally, before the state government or territory government step in, it's all the big corporations like the casinos, like the big franchise, supermarket franchise of Woolworths, Coles, McDonald's, the very big corporations. You never seen small, medium-sized business utilizing DAMA. Okay, so that was the problem. So I think the government had seen that issue and looking into that to help. So DAMA are part of a suite initiative that allow regional Australia to recruit skilled workers where Australian workers are not available. Now this is actually, I think it's a joke. Talking about a little bit into the past. Now, if we're looking into regional skill migration scheme, back in the old days, where the subclass was 857, not even 187 yet. Back then, that visa category actually helped a lot of small and medium-sized business, because it's actually very low requirements as long as the employer is in regional, and the employees, the migrants, only required to have IELTS 4.5. No experience is required, and as long as you match the background, and then you can actually get a visa to work. Now this looks like it's going back to those days. Instead of going through 857, the employer required to be approved as a DAMA employer. I think that's the way they're going. So you can see, because I'm in the industry long enough, you can see that cycle. They talking about they wanted to make it harder, and then coming down, utilizing another type of visa, make it easier, and then going round and round and round. So people question why they do that. Well, government always do that. They create something that make no sense, but it's just a procedural. Anyway, I'm not going to go into too much into politics. Okay, anyway, so the Northern Territory First Regional DAMA respond, and this is what we have read in the news back in 2015. So Honorable Paul Kirby come in with the idea. I think this has already been said. So there is 124 skill and semi-skill occupation identified, and there's only a couple hundred, so there's 925. Increased territory nominated skill program. So government will also increase the allocation of nominated skill program more for Northern Territory. But how many more? There's only 200 more. So very not a big number. Again, the problem with smaller state and territory, for example Tasmania and Northern Territory, is, well, you can have interest there, but you gotta imagine this news is publicly noticeable. So even if in my channel and plus all the other medias out there will be thousands and thousands of people knowing about this. Now, thousands of people competing for 200 placements. That is actually very competitive. That helped the employer. But for the migrants who wanted to go there, perhaps you need to think twice. There's no wrong trying to go there, but what if you go settle there and you cannot find and not getting a visa? That's the fact. That's a lot of people had actually faced that issue in Tasmania and Northern Territory. They actually been there 2-3 years, settled there, and cannot find way to get a visa, or perhaps migrate and settle there. So that's a problem. I think going into those smaller states or territories, you need to have that mindset and be ready to go there. You still got the potential and possibility to migrate, but again, we're talking about a small lump sum of migration quota being competed with more people wanting to get there too. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.